Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. So today I'll be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful bubble gown with side pockets. So if it's something you're interested in, just keep on watching and let's get started. So for this bubble gown, I'm going to be using about 3 yards of this Ankara fabric, and as you can see, my fabric is folded into 4. This is because I'm not going to be cutting the shoulder at all, so I'm going to be cutting the back and front together. So you can see how I folded it. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be measuring the full length of this bubble gown. So I'm going to place my tape here like so, and I'm going to take it all the way down to where I want the length of my bubble gown to get to. So you can see that I marked 60 inches here, inclusive of my sewing allowance. So now I'm going to come to the shoulder like so, and I'm going to mark my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10 inches, as you can see. Then I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect. So right now I'll be marking my neck width. So I'm going to be using 3 inches for my neck width. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark it here like so. So for my neck depth, the back will be 1.5, but I'm just going to mark it either ways. Any alteration for the front will be done after we've drafted both the back and front together. So right now I'll just go ahead and connect that 3 inches for my neck width to the 1.5 inches I came down by for my neck depth. So right now I'm going to be measuring the length of my sleeve, and what I'll do is I'll just come to that 3 inches I measured for my neck width and I'll mark 15 inches. The actual length is 17 inches, but because I'm going to add in a black fabric to it of 2 inches, that's why I made it 15 inches for now. So right now from that point I'm going to go ahead and mark my armhole. So I'm going to mark how wide I want my armhole to be. So I'm going to be using 11 inches for that, as you can see. So now I'm just going to go ahead and use my ruler to connect from my sleeve length to my armhole. So if you want your armhole to be wider or longer than this, you can go ahead and extend the length. So next thing I'll be doing is I'll come to my shoulder to my bust point, and I'll be dividing my bust circumference by 4. So my bust circumference divided by 4 is 9 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that 9 inches. But I'm going to be adding extra 5 inches to it because of how wide or how big I want my bubble gown to be. So if you want yours to be bigger than that, all you need to do is divide your bust circumference by 4 and add whatever inches you want to add to it. But for me, I'll be using extra 5 inches. So what I'll do now is that I'm just going to, from that 5 inches I marked, I'm going to come down by about 1.5 inches. So I'm going to use my ruler to connect from that my armhole line to the extra 1.5 inches I came down by. So I'm just going to connect it like so. Then I'm going to use my free hand to make a slight curve. So just watch how I'm doing it. So I'm just going to make a slight curve like so. So now from that curve that I marked, I'm going to be marking a straight line all the way to the hem of this dress. My bubble gown isn't going to be having any shape. I just want it straight. But if you want yours to have a shape, all you need to do is measure where your hip line will stop, and measure your hip circumference, divide it by 4 and add extra 5 inches to it. That's all. And you connect. But for me, mine is going to be straight all the way down. So this is what I have. You can see how mine looks like. I measured it all the way down. So we are done drafting, and I'm going to be cutting it out. So any alteration that will be done at the front will be done after cutting. So this is what I have. If I open it up, you can see this is the front and the back cut together. So right now I'm going to be showing you guys how to grab the neckline for the front, and what I'll do now is that I'm just going to open up the front and back like so. So I'll be separating it. I'll just open it up like this, and I'll separate it. Then I'll make sure the armholes are facing each other, and the front and back are separated from each other. So you can see now that the front and back are separated from each other, and you can see that I folded each of them into two. So now we're going to be cutting out the front neckline, and you can use whichever side you want to use for the front or of your bubu gown. So I'm going to be using this side for mine. So for the neckline of this bubu gown, I'm going to be using this doll face satin fabric for it. So at this point, I'm going to try to locate the midpoint of this neck, and all I'll do is just to fold my fabric into two and locate it. So now I'll come to the midpoint like I mentioned earlier. I'll just come here and mark my neck depth for the front. So I'm going to be using about 8 inches for my neck depth. If you don't want yours to be as long as that, you can use about 7 inches. So I'll just mark that 8 inches here like so. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark 1.5 inches here. So I'll just go ahead and mark the 1.5 inches like so. So now I'm going to take my curved ruler and I will use it to connect. So you can see I'm placing the curved part like so, and I'm going to use it to connect like so. So now from this point, I'm going to mark that 1.5 inches all the way down. And I'm going to be telling people the reason I marked the 1.5 inches. So I'll just mark that 1.5 inches all the way to the hem of the dress. So right now, I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect the points that I marked. Then I'll go ahead and cut it out, starting from the hem all the way to the top. So just follow how I'm cutting. So after cutting, this is what I have if I open it up. So now I'll be adding the satin fabric to the sleeve of this dress. Remember the 2 inches extra that I didn't add when we were cutting? I'm going to be adding it now. So now I'll open up my sleeve like so. I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to measure whatever it is I have there. So right here I have about 22 inches, and I'm going to note it down. So this is the black fabric I'm going to be joining to this bubu gown, and is about 5 inches long, as you can see. If I fold into two, it will be 2.5 inches. So the 22 inches that we marked earlier is what we are going to be using to join it to the sleeve, but I added extra allowance to it. So if it's more, I'm just going to go ahead and trim it out. So I'll fold it into two like this, and I'll place it on top of this sleeve. So I'm placing it on the right side of the cloth, and I will use 1/2 inch to just join all the way. So you can see that there is excess. I'll just go ahead and trim it out after joining. So after joining, if I flip it over to the other side, this is what it will look like. So I'm done joining both sides of the sleeve, and this is what I have. You can see what both of the sides look like. So right now we're going to be cutting out the fabric the black fabric that will be attached to the collar of this dress, this black satin fabric. And the first thing we'll do is to measure all the way from the hem of the dress. So I'm going to take my measuring tape, and I'm going to start from the hem like so, and I'll take it all the way to the other side. So just watch how I'm measuring it. So you can see that when I got to this place, I have 60. So I'm going to continue from there. So I'm going to start from 1 all over again, and I'll continue measuring. So you can see here that I have another 60, so I'm going to start again from 1. So after marking, I have 11 inches here, so I'm going to add everything together. So 60 plus 60 is 120. 120 plus 11 will give me 131. So I already cut out the black fabric I'm going to be adding to the neck of this Bubu gown all the way to the hem, and the width is about 7 inches. So remember that 1.5 inches we removed when we were cutting out the neck of the front of this Bubu gown. So I'm going to be multiplying it by 4 and to give me 6 inches, but I'll be adding 1 inch extra to it for my sewing allowance. So half an inch will be for each side, so it will make it 7 inches in total. So now for the full length of this, I was unable to cut out the 131 inches at once. What I did was to divide it into 2. It gave me 65.5 inches. I added extra 5 inches to it. So I make sure I cut out 2 of it and I joined it together. So you can see the joining I have here. This is the joining. So you can see the place I joined it. You can see what it looks like. So right now I'll just go ahead and fold it into 2 and I'll use my pin to hold it down. So if I join it on my Bubu gown, this is what it will look like. So now I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that. So now the first thing I'll be doing is I'll pick up my Bubu gown like so, and I'll just fold it into 2. So just watch how I'm doing it. So I'll separate the front from the back like so. You can see the way it is. So now I'm going to come to the back here and I'll make a notch in the middle. So now I'll take my tape rule and start measuring from the back. That's the part I notched. I'm going to mark it all the way to the front. So just watch the way I'm measuring. So after measuring, I have about 13 inches here. So now I'll be bringing in my black fabric, and what I'll do is I'll place my tape rule on that part that I joined. So I'll place it there like so, and I'll be marking that 13 inches that we measured. So I'll just go ahead and mark it. So the wideness of this black fabric is about 7 inches, and I'm going to be dividing that into 2. It will give me 3.5. So I'll go ahead and mark 3.5 at this point like so. So from that 3.5, I'll go ahead and sew the middle all the way. So I'm not going to be starting from the top. I'll just go ahead and sew it all the way down. So this is what I have after sewing. If I flip it over to the other side, you see what it looks like. You can see what it looks like. So all I need to do now is just take it to my ironing table and iron it. So this is what I have after ironing. You can see what it looks like. So right now I'm going to be joining the black fabric to the Bubu gown, and we're going to be starting from that part that I notched at the back. So now I'm going to be placing that part that I joined, that's a black fabric. I'm going to be placing it on the right side of the Bubu gown. So I'll be placing it on the right side, exactly on the part that I notched, and I'll use my pin to hold it down. So I'm done joining the first part, and I'll go ahead and do the other side as well. So after joining both sides, this is what I have. I also went ahead to iron it. So right now I'm going to be cutting out the pocket of this dress, and the length of the pocket will be about 8 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 8 inches, and remember my material is folded into 2, so I'll go ahead and mark 8 inches. Then I'll place my hand on top of that place that I marked like so. I'll make sure there's enough space, then I'll go ahead and make it curve. I'll just mark it all the way around like so. So just make sure the wideness is enough after placing your palm on top. So right now I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So I'll be cutting out the second pocket, and my material is on fold as well, so I'll just place it on top like this and I'll cut it out. So you can see here that I have 4 pieces. So right now I'm going to be attaching my pocket to my gown, and remember there are four pieces of the pocket, so we'll be adding 2 pieces each to the sides of the gown. So now I'm going to be placing my tape rule on the shoulder of the gown, and I'm going to be marking my shoulder to my waist. So my shoulder to my waistline is 16 inches, and I'll go ahead and mark it. So from that 16 inches, I'm going to come down by 3 inches and I'll go ahead and mark. So now I'll place my pocket on top of that 3 inches I came down by. I'll use my pin to hold it, and I'll use about 1/4 or 1/2 of an inch to join. I'll do the same thing at the other side as well, so you can see what I have. So after joining each piece to both the front and the back, this is what I have. This is what it looks like. So now I'll be joining the front and back together, so I'll just go ahead and arrange them properly. Then I'll use my pin to hold them down. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach, and remember that the pocket is still open, so when you are sewing together, you're going to use 1/2 an inch to sew all the way like this. Just follow my finger. So you're going to sew, then to take the pocket like this. Just watch how I'm doing it. You start from here, you sew all the way, you go all the way around the pocket with 1/2 of an inch, then you come down again and sew all the way down with 1/2 of an inch. So you're going to be doing the same thing at the other side as well. So this is what I have after joining it. You can see what it looks like, and my pocket as well. You can see that my hands fit inside very properly. I did the same thing at the other side as well, so you can see what it looks like. So I also went ahead to use about 1 inch to fold the hem inside, and I went ahead to iron, and we've come to the end of today's tutorial. Please, if you're first time on my channel and you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to subscribe, and if you're a returning subscriber, please don't forget to like and share the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.